How's everybody doing? This is Robert from Breaking the Chain, USA. What we're going to talk about now is Ripple and XRP and some of the achievements they've made this past week. And we'll take a look at that, go into the video, a little detail on what's going on around the world with XRP, and look at what the future holds right now. We had a critical point, I think. The stock market's down a little bit. Crypto market is down a little bit today too, but I think we may see a shift soon. Anyway, we'll go ahead and take a look at the video. Everybody enjoy it.
How's everybody doing today? Welcome to Breaking the Chain USA. This is Robert. Glad to provide you some updates with XRP. A little hectic week, and what I'm going to do right here is just go back about 3 or 4 days and fill you in what's been going on with XRP. A lot of new people joining, and the YouTube channel, and want to know more about Ripple. Ripple was on CNBC News not long ago, actually. Last week it was on CNBC News, and several people talking about XRP and where it can go, and a lot of people out there speculating, but we'll get, I won't really speculate, because as we know, the price goes up and down. We'll just talk about some facts. This news right here came out the other day. Ripple sent 54 million in XRP to Mexico in just 1 week. And what it's doing is really pushing the US dollars between here and Mexico. And most of this is going through MoneyGram. Another Ripple partner is Bitso in Mexico. And 10% of MoneyGram's flowed into Mexico is using XRP. And the way it works, for example, if you go to a Walmart, like here in where I'm at in Myrtle Beach, we have several Walmarts, and they have MoneyGram. And I was behind a lady actually the other day was sending money to Mexico. And this process only took seemed like less than a minute for her to do the paperwork and fill everything out. And the money was there within less than a minute. It probably took, honestly, about 3 seconds for the actual transaction to take place. That's what XRP does. It transfers money. We've been using the same antiquated system called SWIFT since the 1970s. Like I said, if you want to transfer money from bank A to bank B right across the street, it's going to take a week for that money to get there. You're better off to get it out, put it in yourself. And transfer money around the world takes a week or 2 weeks, it seems like, to get from one destination to another. And this is called the Internet of Value. And the reason XRP, a lot of people like it, is because it's actually serves a use case. It's a digital asset with a real utility. We have a real utility here. Like I'm talking about VeChain, Holochain, they have a real utility. Like VeChain is can actually verify food products like they were doing in Walmart in Asia. And Holochain's decentralized platform, and we're going to get in a Holoport and having a node, which allows freedom of expression without some third party or in social media, for example, telling you what you can post and what can't post. So, but right now, this is how. Ripple invested 50 million in MoneyGram, 10% of MoneyGram. And MoneyGram is starting to take off. It's starting to blow the competition away. And nobody else offers this. And they can do it for really, it only costs a fraction of a penny. If you want to send 50 million in XRP or a billion of XRP, it costs less than a penny to send that. This saves banks and companies lots of money. Bank of America, we're waiting to find out where they've hired somebody to work with Ripple and XRP. This is big. They have a lot of non-disclosure forms. They really can't tell you what's going on. But we're assuming Bank of America will be using XRP to move money somewhere. We have to wait and see. So, a big bank like Bank of America starts to use the token, and Ripple has partnerships with Santander, American Express, PNC Bank. But to the level it actually started to utilize that token to transfer money, that's when you would see mass adoption take place, and for everything to kick in to a really good point. So it's very interesting, and Ripple does have about 300 partnerships with some well-known companies, like I said, American Express, Santander, SBI Bank in Japan. I mean, they're tied in with Brad Garlandhouse, the CEO. Really good friends with former IMF President Christine Lagarde, and she's mentioned Ripple in several speeches about transferring money. You can go back and Google that, type in her name, Christine Lagarde, and Ripple. She mentions that. And also, Ripple is mentioned in an executive order. Executive order actually 13772 for the overhauling of the United States financial system in signed by Donald Trump on February the 3rd, 2017. And what this does is help speed up with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Oversight Committee to actually facilitate payments around the world. And Ripple is one of the companies. If you look at this, it's on one of the pages. I forget what page it's on, but it's one of the companies that's going to be used. And that is already in this executive order. This was already in there. So it's kind of pre-baked if you really think about it. I know Donald Trump is in India right now. And one of the things that he was talking about was the digital economy and trade. XRP and Ripple are huge, are really, really big in India. Very popular. It's very popular over there. I mean, India is probably like saying, Dell Computer Company over here. I mean, people, not everybody, but a lot of people have an awareness of XRP and what it can do. India is actually very like the Asian countries, very technological, smart. Technology-wise, they're actually ahead of America. Is what I'm trying to say. I know a lot of Indian friends that work here in the United States for computer companies. Very smart people. They're very aware of blockchain technology and how to format it. And companies like XRP, they know about that. So, it's interesting what goes on behind the scenes you don't see all the time. But, and also, with this week, we actually had news with Mexico that came out, which is really good. Ripple actually has invested in a new smart contract platform. And a smart contract platform, a smart contract, for those of you who don't know, smart contracts can be very popular. Now, here in the Myrtle Beach area, I work in real estate. And to do a real estate closing, it actually takes sometimes 2 to 3 weeks or longer to get everybody involved. You're trying to get the buyer, the seller, closing attorney, the bank, appraiser. All these steps have to go through in a certain order. With a smart contract, it's on a distributed ledger. Everybody is on that ledger. And what happens, it's like they're testing it out in China right now. It's going very well. It's like a 20, 30-minute process. All this paper, all the information is already there. It's connected. It can't be changed, manipulated. It's all there. It's done. And I can't wait for this to come to the United States. It would make real estate transactions so awesome. And I've talked about this before, tokenized real estate. Like, for example, say you have a skyscraper here in this building, or let's say a hotel in Myrtle Beach, a new hotel, and they wanted to sell kind of like shares. It won't really be shares, but square footage of the hotel, so you could own a certain portion of that hotel. Let's say you can't afford to buy a $300,000 oceanfront condo, but you want to have some ownership in the company. They can do that by tokenized real estate. So what I mean by that is you can own a portion of square footage, and it would be through the blockchain actually. And you'll see that with there are some I think soccer stadiums in other countries that are doing that now, and the public is taking to that. So the goal here in the United States is to get Congress moving on this and getting the infrastructure established. You just can't transfer money, like I said before, from one bank to another. These financial corridors have to be established. And this was the same procedure when we did the internet in the 1990s in the Clinton administration. The infrastructure had to be set up. Cell phone companies, when smartphones came along with 4G, 5G network, T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, they all had to get approval and a framework established to actually go through with that. So the same thing is going on here behind the scenes right now. Now, in digital assets, it's going to be the first asset class we have had since bonds were issued in 1690 by the Bank of England. And also, Morgan Stanley announced last week $13 billion deal to buy E-Trade. E-Trade is just announced they're getting into digital asset markets where you can trade XRP, Bitcoin, VeChain, whatever you want. Morgan Stanley knows what's going to happen. They know. I look at it this way. I know the stock market is down today because of the coronavirus, so to speak. Digital asset market was down a little bit, not as much. Actually, some of the ones I had went up today. So some people may look at this as a hedge, especially with a new asset class. But if you're moving money like with XRP, billions and billions of dollars, you saw in Mexico 1 week. 54 billion was moved. That's just a small fraction. We're in the infancy stages right now of this technology, of blockchain technology, and you're going to see information. For example, that we were just talking about contracts, smart contracts. The program that I've used before. This is an example of what a smart contract looks like on the Ethereum network, and XRP and Ethereum, they have joined together, and they're actually going to form a smart contract network. Ethereum has been around for a long time. It's the second largest digital asset. Ripple, XRP is number 3 in the world. So Ethereum does have the experience as far as contracts. But as you can see, that if any of you ever created a website back in the 90s, back in college, I know I did that. And it was kind of confusing. And this is the same way. This is how you would do a smart contract. Like I was talking about with real estate companies, you can do insurance companies as well. They can build a smart contract as well. And with this, what we have is different ones I've done right here. And it's different parameters and certain figures you have to put in for it to calculate properly and for it to work. And to me, it's complicated. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, to see how it works. And actually, at one of the classes I took, we had to do a smart contract. And like you see, there's different ones right here. You have different modifiers you have to put in. You have the code, and you have to look at the bottom to make sure it's right. You're starting to see more and more of this. When I was in the Raleigh-Durham area, I went to a blockchain corporation that were actually working on smart contracts. So, but these are going to be used. You're going to see it like, for example, you have iPage now and GoDaddy to build websites. And if you've seen the interface, how easy it is. I think XRP and Ripple, they're going to work with Ethereum to actually combine this into a more simplified form where, for example, with a real estate office, you'll have somebody in tech that can do it easier. Because this can become, if you're not familiar with this, it can be very tedious and very complicated because everything has to be just right. So this reminds me of when coding first came out in the 80s, Prodigy Internet web crawler, people are just getting into it, just getting familiar with it. So that's what we have on smart contracts. Now, Ripple is actually tied in with R3. R3 is a payments app, is integrated with XRP. They're tied in with credit card companies, Visa, MasterCard. And the R3, what it does, it actually works as a settlement agreement with the XRP ecosystem. It integrates it. And it hasn't really taken off yet. It's still been in the prototype phase for a while. But they do plan to get this going very soon. And what you're going to do, R3 is actually going to be tied in and can move some money around the world. For example, credit card companies, it takes a while for if you're a business owner, to get that payment. With R3 and XRP working together, when a token is burned, it actually can transfer the money right then in a few seconds. You're not having to wait for it, for it to go through. Or if you want to put money, for example, back on a credit card, that can be done in a few seconds. You don't have to wait 5 or 6 business days for that to happen. That's antiquated. That's old stuff. We should already move past it. With all the technology we have, that should have already taken place 20 years ago or longer. And here we are using the same technology we've been using since 1975 with Swift. So it's time for a change. And like I said, digital assets are very low priced right now. A lot of people are saying it's kind of like the internet bubble. It could be bigger than that. They're thinking because you're dealing with trillions of dollars as opposed to just startup technology companies. So it's going to be very, very interesting, to put it to you that way. And yeah, with E-Trade, Charles Schwab bought TD Ameritrade this summer. Right after TD Ameritrade said they were going to get a digital asset trading platform too. Wall Street has come in. Wall Street, I think they know what's going on. Behind the scenes, they know. I lived in New York City for a short period of time and talked to a lot of people. I know a lot of people work on Wall Street. There's things that go on behind closed doors that you and I do not hear about. It's not going to be put in the front page of USA Today until it already happens, until everybody gets their share or loads their bags up. And XRP was selling institutional on the institutional market. They were selling a lot institutional and custodian market to Wall Street companies, millions and millions and millions, like 300 million, I believe, last year, and they stopped doing that because all the Wall Street companies, they got in first, and everything else is like more over the counter right now. So we'll see how that goes as far as buying stuff. But blockchain is, very innovative. The technology just blows anything away, and it is a new horizon, so to speak. More popular in other countries than the U.S. Yes, it is. The U.S. needs to stay competitive, so hopefully politicians get the regulatory frameworks set up. All right, and that right now is about all that I have right now dealing with blockchain and XRP. Holochain, I'm looking, like I said, I'm looking to get that Holoport. They actually sold out of the $120 Holoports that they had. And Holochain is it's a good company, actually. And what they have, they do decentralized applications, peer-to-peer network. So once it gets going, it's going to take a while too, but they've got a lot of awards, and it's a great company. And you can go to their website and find out more about them as well. VeChain, I really do like VeChain. With the coronavirus, VeChain, they actually were looking at, they're tied in with the government of China. They're based out of China. Last year, before anyone even knew what a coronavirus was, they were looking at getting a partnership to monitor and to validate vaccines. And the way they would do that, they would actually determine where the vaccine came from. You scan it. In food items in grocery stores in Asia, they're being used. Like there's a certain company that makes milk. You can scan the milk carton, and it shows everything about that milk, even where the farm it came from, the cow it came from, when it got there, how it got there. It's transparency. It's what a lot of people want in food products. And they're branching out to in automobile industry with BMW. They actually put some of the BMW cars on the blockchain where all the maintenance work and anything that's been done to the BMW is actually on a ledger that cannot be changed. Miles can't be erased. So there's other avenues that they're going to expand into beyond what they have right now. So they're going to diversify. For diversification, I think is the key with a lot of blockchain companies. You see it in Ripple, XRP. They're being used in different cases. A lot of these companies are following Amazon, because Amazon started out selling books, and they're into everything right now. And a lot of the early adapters, they see that. And you do have a lot of other blockchain companies that, a lot of digital assets, they probably won't be around. Probably 90% of the digital assets out there now that don't have a use case, they're just sitting there in somebody's digital wallet doing nothing, that are never in the news. They probably won't be around. But the ones that you can use in everyday life and will use, I mean, for example, like VChain, monitoring food, it could be used by several businesses, restaurants, and you won't even know it. XRP, moving money around, you use a credit card, you go to a bank, the money's being moved around, and you don't see that, even though you're not active, you're not the one doing it. It's being done behind the scenes, kind of like a lot of things run on Microsoft Windows now. Like it seems like the whole world runs on Microsoft Windows. Anywhere you go, their system operates on that, from ATMs to fast food restaurants. So it could be something that could really have a good positive snowball effect, we think, in the future. That's just my opinion. If you go to Digital Asset Investor, Alex Cobb, Brad Kimes, CKJ, Crypto Arid, they get a lot of juggling, every day these guys put videos up there. I do maybe 2 a week, 2 or 3 a week. But every day they actually put videos up there with detailed information. They have contacts that give them precise information that you can look at and you can research, and they're not lying. They're telling you the truth, So it's kind of like they're saying this cake is already pre-baked. They're just waiting to hit the switch once everybody gets their bags loaded. It could be. I hope so. I've been buying for 3 years, been very patient. I haven't sold not one digital asset. I own about 12 different digital assets, a lot more than others, like XRP, VChain, HoloChain, Apollo, Cardano. I try to pick the ones with the best utility that will probably have some use case, like I've just talked about. But this is all I have right now for a video. As far as real estate information goes today, I went down to Pawleys Island, looked at some real estate. Take you over here. Anybody, CoastalCarolinaLife.net, my real estate website I do for the Coastal Carolina region, along with HotHomeMarkets.com. And Pawleys Island is about 30 minutes south of Myrtle Beach in Georgetown County. Beautiful area. Myrtle's Inlet's right up the road from there. The Marsh Walk. Pawleys Island hammocks. Definitely go to my site here, CoastalCarolinaLife.net. Click on the town of Pawleys Island. Just goes to their official website and tells you about what's going on down there. America's oldest resort, been here since the 1700s. Beautiful area right here. Great people down there too. Very laid back. Halfway between Myrtle Beach and Charleston, but great people down there. But it's some land on Highway 17 today. There's some really good land down there for commercial use. A few residential lots left for development. Hard to keep property around here now. It's more demand, it seems like, than supply. A lot of realtors actually, they're having a hard time to find houses for people, it seems like, because we were building a lot of houses along the Grand Strand, and a lot of them are getting sold before they're even built. So the housing market here is going crazy, especially compared to a lot of other places. I've seen a lot of construction here, more so than a lot of places I've been to. I travel around the United States for the most part, I won't say the world, but it's amazing to see the growth down here in the Grand Strand area of the Carolinas. But anyway, that's all I have right now. Any information on blockchain, hit me up. I'd be glad to answer any questions at breakingthechainusa@gmail.com. any real estate information, I can always be contacted at American Real Estate, REF at gmail.com. And be sure to get a ledger and NOS for safekeeping for your digital assets. I've had one for a long time. They work. It's awesome. They are safe. You have to put a code in. Only you can do it. You have to connect it to your laptop. Nobody else has control of that. You have your keys there. It's incredible. The best way to store your digital assets. And get a Coinbase account. Coinbase is awesome. We just bought my last probably XRP I want to buy for right now because it was a little dip. I've decided I've got enough right now where I'm actually happy with that and VeChain and so forth. So I bought some more XRP. And the good thing about Coinbase is they're very reliable. You can call them up on the phone, talk to them. Not many companies you can do that. They're based in California. A great company. I mean, if you're going to, sell something or keep something, and there's so much like they have insurance, like people that keep it. But I don't recommend keeping any digital asset on an exchange, but they do have insurance for that. So a lot of exchanges don't have that. But anyway, that is all I have right now. Thank you so much for watching, and everybody have a great week. Thank you so much.